very first event was the African Movie Academy Awards. On the 6th of March, 2010. I met RMD. I took a picture with him. Oh my God, my Facebook was popping.
Hey guys, welcome to How They Did It with TriciaBiz, a show that takes you behind the scenes of successful African entrepreneurs, change makers, and creators, showing you the journeys that led to their success.
This episode is sponsored by Traction Apps, the growth partner for your business.
From standing in the family compound of a just concluded Ewe traditional engagement ceremony from the Volta region in Ghana. Now, this event was finally put together by one of the best in this market, Think Mahogany Events. And she'll be our guest on this episode, taking us behind the scenes to understand why she relocated from the UK to Ghana to start this fabulous event 12 years later, 1,000 events strong, how she did it. So I'm here with the lovely Miss Debra-Jane Nelson of Think Mahogany. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for finding me worthy.
Yay! You know, before we sat here, we were at a traditional wedding, and I must say it was so beautiful. Like, I just seen the relationship between the Ghanaian traditional wedding and Nigerian wedding, because they dance in and then they haggle and then tell the groom and he's meant to give money and all those things and all the colors, and it's so rich. Well done.
Thank you. I especially loved today's because they are actually from my part of Ghana. I'm from the Volta region.
Okay.
So I hardly actually do, say, Voltarian events. Usually for the Ashantis, the Gans, the Kwehus and stuff. So I felt
this is our thing.
Our thing, yes. And the drumming, the dancing. It was I really enjoyed it. It was
beautiful. Well done. So let's take it all the way back to growing up. You know, what was growing up like for you? Because I read that you hopped a lot.
For me, it was, I think it's made me who I am, to be honest. Okay. I feel like I can gel, if I can use that word gel, wherever I find myself. I adapt easily because of growing up. My father, actually, so if I tell you how my father even got to Africa, my father is Scottish and he traveled to Africa on a motorbike.
What?
Yeah. He rode a motorbike across the desert.
Wow.
Yes. Against his parents' will, of course. And interestingly, my brother, the one after me, he became a biker. And my parents didn't like it, but they couldn't say much because of my father's history.
Experience, yeah.
And then I also did biking lessons. I did it in the UK, but then the way the drivers are here, I just thought, you know what? I
mean, preserve my life.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, so it's an interesting start to my life. So my father came across. And he was working at University of Ghana as a lecturer teaching accounting.
Okay.
And he did his MBA at Cranfield University. My father is Scottish, by the way. So he was eating in a chop bar where my mom worked. In, you know, they say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. But my mom would deny with every bit of her, oh no, I didn't like him. He was the one that was chasing me. But you know, interestingly, on Monday, I was having a conversation with my parents and my father said something. And I was like, I pray that when I'm 71, my husband will be saying this about me. He said, he was saying it to his other friends that, you know, I really hope she doesn't die before me. He was saying that about my mom. And then I heard my mom say, he's always saying this to me. And I keep telling him that I can't control that. It's God's will. So one of the friends asked, why do you say that? He said, I wouldn't know what I would do if she wasn't around. I'm so used to living my life to provide for her and the children, that even now that he's semi-retired, every time she wants money for something. So it's like he looks forward to providing for her. And he looks forward to every day she doing something for him. So it's like his whole life now is about her.
Revolves around her.
He says he can't phantom life without her. And I reflected on that for so long. You know, I'm like, I hope I have such an impact on my husband that he would say that this chick, I better die before you. But so he did that. He worked here for a bit, and he got a job with a publishing company in Nigeria.
Okay.
I was 6 months old when I went to Nigeria. Then when I was 2 years old, we went to Togo.
Wow.
That's when they were doing Ghana Must Go in Nigeria.
Okay.
So Ghana Must Go. We shipped off to
Togo.
And then I lived in Togo till I was 9. So that's 7 years in Togo. My younger brother was born in Togo. Then we came back to Ghana because of the civil war in Togo.
Okay.
And then when we came to Ghana, I went to primary, GSS, SSS. And then it was time to go to sixth form. So I went back to the UK to do sixth form, my first degree, my MBA. I worked and I came back.
Interesting.
Yes, so that's how.
That's a tour around the world.
Yes. But we traveled quite a bit. My father worked as an auditor in African Francophone countries.
Okay.
So we got the opportunity to travel with him a lot to Niger, Burkina, Guinea, Cameroon. So I've been to quite a lot of African countries. Yeah.
Okay, so you end up in the UK, you go through a first degree. The MBA was right after the first degree.
Yes, because when I did my first degree, even before I did my first degree, I did 1 year work placement.
Okay.
So I was already a year behind. And I did that with IBM because I wasn't sure. I actually wanted to do music business management with Westminster University. I had this whole thing that I could be an artist and repertoire manager. I love music. So that's what I wanted to do. And then I thought, you know what if I don't get a job? And that was when IT was picking up. I mean, I finished university in 2005, so that was quite a while back. I thought, okay, let me try a year working with IBM.
Okay.
So my first placement was with IBM. I worked with IBM and then I thought, let me do business IT. So I didn't do music business management. I ended up doing business IT at Coventry University. And even that, I did 2 years and then I did 1 year work placements again with Kodak Dental Systems. The X-ray machines that I use, the software behind the X-ray system. So I worked for Kodak for a year and then I finished my degree. And then I thought, you know what, let me just stay on and do my MBA. So I did my MBA in international business, but also at Coventry.
Okay. So after the MBA, what next?
After the MBA, I lived in Milton Keynes for 11 years and then I was in Coventry. So after the MBA, I worked for Milton Keynes Council. I was doing a lot of healthcare, social care work, but the administrative aspects of it.
Okay.
My friend and I started a charity then called, at the time, it was called Shikatama, which means living in hope in Swahili. And the target was to provide support for people living with HIV in the African community. So I did Shikatama part-time with my friend Tina for a while. And I was affected by somebody living with mental health illnesses. So I then thought, I was his sole carer. And he had a huge impact on me because I was young, and his medication was very druggy to the point where I had to even brush his teeth. It was a lot. It was a huge burden on me. And that's when I also developed a passion for helping people with mental health, because that's when I got to understand that it's beyond what we think. And it affects me to the point where when I hear people call a mentally ill person on the street a mad person, I actually get upset because that person doesn't know that they are mentally sick, and it is not their desire to be in that position. So I decided that I would provide support for people, not people living with mental health, but people affected by living with people with mental health.
Okay.
You know, it drains you. It drains you. People don't realize. It actually channels. It can channel your career path. It influences you in big ways. And so I decided to do that. So I kind of branched off the HIV and started focusing more on the mental health. And Tina was still doing the HIV. So I did that for a bit while I was working for Milton Keynes Council. I also worked for the Open University. I was all admin, and I was there for a while. But I was doing a long distance relationship with a Ghanaian man.
Okay.
I'd known him since I was 9.
Okay.
So we were friends for a very long time. He moved to America. We were doing long distance. And I was at that point in my life where I had to make the decision, do I get a mortgage and like focus, you know, once you get into the British system, that's it.
That's it.
So do I get a mortgage, you know, get into it, or do I come to Ghana and be with him and start life? So I chose the latter.
You chose man.
I chose man. Yes. I chose man. And I came to Ghana. But I got a job with the medical laboratory, did that for 6 months. I didn't like it. The relationship ended. After 4 years, it ended in 6 months.
Oh, wow. It ended in 6 months returning to Ghana.
Yes, and actually being in a relationship. You can't compare that to long distance relationship. Yeah, so it didn't work out. You know, but something told me not to go back. I mean, I was going back because he was everything I knew, really. I had no friends. My siblings were in UK. My friends, you know, I always say that the most important, I shouldn't say significant or important, but your realest friends are the ones you make in the hardest moments of your life. And that was my university years. And those ladies are still like my friends. Half of them are Nigerian.
Interesting.
Yes. So, so I was ready to go back because there was really nothing here for me. But something just said, don't go back. And, you know, looking back, nothing but love would have made me come to Ghana. Because I had nothing here. There's nothing here for me. God had to find something to bring me here. So really, and it made sense why it was only 6 months. That wasn't God's plan for my life. God needed to find a tool
to bring you back.
Bring me, and God, it was just, that was the only way. So I listened and I started looking for a job, and I got a job with Ericsson, the telecommunication company.
You know, so you get your first job. It wasn't what you wanted. You get Ericsson. So how did you then navigate from there into events?
Okay. So I knew that was going to be the next question. When I left the first job at the medical laboratory, I was pretty much packing up to go. And when in trying to figure myself out and what I'm actually doing in this Ghana, a friend of mine at the time, when I was at the lab, I was doing a lot of events for them, a lot of marketing stuff. And even when I was in the UK, every time the African community were doing events, I would help. I wasn't passionate about events. I'm still not passionate about events. I keep saying that even when I do my classes. And the first question I ask my students, why are you in this class? And they tell me, I'm passionate about events. And I'm telling you, after doing real events and not making money for a while, I'll ask you if you're still passionate about events. They are passionate about the idea of seeing beautiful things being done on social media and believing in themselves that they can also do it. So I was home and my friend said a friend of hers is having an event and he needs help. But because she's working at the bank, she doesn't have time. So if I could help him, I was against it. One, because I was out of town. I was in Takwa. Two, I have a big phobia for road travel. Three, I was going to sit in a total stranger's car. So I'm like, no way, I'm not going. She persuaded me, and I I'm glad she did, because she persuaded me, oh, please, please, please go with him this time. But next time, I promise I'll go with you. Fine. So I went and to help him do an event. And he gave me, so I would say he gave me the first event. But whilst we were waiting to actually execute that event as a planner, decorator, coordinator, all in one for him, he got a call from a Nigerian event company. And this company, I don't know if they're still in business, Open Hands Nigeria. I should actually look for them. The owners were his friends from Oxford Brookes University. And they had the opportunity to do African Movie Academy Awards in Ghana that year, 2010. So they called him, oh, do you have any contacts in Ghana that can help us to find vendors and all that for the event? This man says, oh yes, I have an event planner. She can help you. She's the one helping me with my event. So she will help you. He puts me in touch with these people and I help them. So my very first event was the African Movie Academy Awards. On the 6th of March, 2010. I met RMD. I took a picture with him. Oh my God, my Facebook was popping. Yes. That was my first event. And then the week after was actually his event.
Okay.
At the time it was Facebook. I've always been big on social media. I remember High Five, MySpace, then Facebook. So I posted the pictures and people were intrigued. Is that what you do now? Is this what you do, my friends from abroad? Is that what you do in Ghana? People were talking about it. And it was, imagine my first event being this movie event with this handsome man that, everybody likes. And there was Lydia Force and there were a lot of celebrities. So it attracted audience. Everybody was curious. What event was that? And then the following week, I do another event. And the girls were dressed in Grecian clothing, It was different. And people are, do you do events now? And I said, yes. But not with the mindset to actually go into it
as a business.
I was still looking for a job. And I started getting bookings. Just like that. Oh, it's my birthday. Can you help me? Oh, I'm getting married. I remember my first wedding. I'm getting married. Can you help me? This, that. And basically, that's it. For me, at the time, I was still looking for a job. It's something to do whilst looking for a job. Whilst waiting. And I got a job, but even then, working full-time for somebody else, I could do 4 weddings in one Saturday, and it would be 400 guests, 300 guests. It wasn't like 50 guests, 100 guests, no. Large, and I could do 4 every week whilst working 9 to 5 for somebody. And I did that for 2 years. It was draining. And I had to make the decision. Do I leave Ericsson and focus on Think Mahogany, or do I leave Think Mahogany and start working my way up the career ladder? And I decided to do Think Mahogany.
Go with business. So how were you able to balance both, that one didn't suffer, the 9 to 5 and the business for the 2 years?
I think that's what groomed my not sleeping pattern. And I remember I used to have a blog at the time on WordPress. And I remember so well, I posted a blog post called Rotten Bananas. In fact, I should go back and read this blogs. It was difficult. Sometimes my colleague, let's say I would go to work on Monday, my colleagues would go home and come and meet me Tuesday morning, still at my desk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I live far, and then what will happen is I'll do my 9 to 5, and then I'm like, oh, traffic. If I leave at 5, by the time I get home, it's about 8. I'm tired. And I have to wake up early and come back. I'm like, you know what? I might as well just chill, work. And then when I'm tired, I go. I get so consumed. Next thing is 1 a.m. I'm at the desk working on my events. It's 1 a.m. and now I'm too scared to drive home at that time of the night. I'm like, okay, then I'll just stick it through. And I'll just do it and then go at 5. So that's that. And up to now, I'm doing that. And I know it's very bad for my health. I know.
Yes, it is.
My friends are always saying, do you know this thing actually causes heart attacks? I'm like, God forbid. You know, Africans.
Africa.
God forbid, yes. But I remember one time the HR lady complained to my boss, Alan Triggs. He said, she didn't do it to my hearing, but I heard his response. She was like, sometimes I come to work at 10 instead of 8:30. And whenever my boss messaged me at midnight, at 1 a.m., because he's working, so he's thought about something, he doesn't want to forget, because I'm like that now. He will send me a message and I'll reply. 2 a.m., he will ask me something, hoping that I'll work on it the next day. By the time he comes to work at 7 a.m., it's done. So he's thinking, this girl. When the HR lady was like, you know, it's not nice that Deborah comes to work sometimes at 10 and there are other people in the office and he doesn't say anything. So it will look like favoritism. There was a glass partitioning. He said, but when Deborah is working throughout the night, they are sleeping. She makes up for it. He came from the culture of understanding that you don't need to do a 9 to 5 to deliver, as long as you're delivering.
You're delivering.
You know. But that man said something to me when he recruited me. He said, when you're in a role and after 2 years, you don't see yourself evolving, or you find that you keep doing the same things over and over again, or rather going backwards, then you're in the wrong role. You're not maximizing your potential. So I also had that at the back of my mind. So after 2 years, I evaluated and I'm like, this role I'm in, are they using me for the best of my ability, or am I just filling a seat? And when I thought about it, I'm like, I could be better. And to be better is either I apply for other roles in the same company and work up the ladder, or I leave.
Just leave.
And do something else.
So the business is growing now, you know, you're getting people reaching out to you. So what are some of the things that you remember doing to grow the business at that infancy stage?
You know, at that time, I didn't have to do much. The market was there.
Okay.
And the market was there, but the people that were in the market at the time were not exhibiting it to attract the younger folks. I even say that now in my classes, that I'm 40 now. I don't have a lot of people my age getting married. Those who are getting married, maybe second marriage, and so they're keeping it very small and things like that. When I started doing events in Ghana, it was the era where a lot of people my age was getting married. All these people are on social media, and every week I'm putting this is in their faces. Okay. And they are more comfortable using somebody like me because they feel like I'll get it.
You relate.
You know, I relate. And I'm doing to them the trendier thing because that's what I'm showing to them. Whereas a lot of people were being forced by their parents because their parents are paying. So you have to use auntie this, you have to use auntie that. And like, no, but this woman is not. Because they could prove the work I'm doing by social media. The parents started buying into it. So a lot of my business was repeat customers. And I also say to my class that every time you have an event, as an event planner, you are advertising at that event to your guests,
Mm-hmm.
to your other vendors, because vendors will recommend you, or if they have a bad experience, they will tell the client not to use you. And the client, if the client trusts them, they would go for
They'll
that.
go with their recommendations.
Exactly. So I would get people from events booking me because they saw me there. And then when they came online, oh, it's this lady. I saw her. So a lot of my clients were people that were guests at events that
Yeah.
I'd worked at, bridesmaids. And now they are trying to get married. They like the experience I gave them. So it's always the same circle, really. But like I said, at the time, a lot of people in that circle were getting married. So today is this lady. In a few months, is her maid of honor. In a few months, is that maid of honor's maid of honor. So, and then the groomsmen. So, that's why I was always so busy at the time.
This is me interrupting your watch time to tell you to like this video, share it, and also subscribe to my channel. You're still watching How They Did It with TriciaBiz.
And also, I realized then that when I went to an event and maybe I was just meant to do the decor, when I finish and I'm sat there with my team, one auntie that maybe was meant to be the coordinator or to make sure everything is going well will come. Why is the cake lady not here? Or why is the DJ not here? And I'm looking at her like,
it's not my job.
It's not my job. I was here to do decor. But at the time, they had that mentality or mindset that once you're the decorator, every problem here is your problem. So that's when I picked and I was like, you know what? Ghanaians need event coordinators in addition to decorators. So if I'm able to do that, I should add it as an add-on and sell that as a service on its own. People were not paying for event coordinators. They will pay for a decorator and expect the decorator to coordinate. And what was working for me is then I was having a lot of young people say, Mom, I know you want us to use maybe auntie this because she's your childhood friend who now has an event company. But this lady, she's a very good coordinator. We don't have to worry. So because they want to be on social media, auntie, whatever, I will not post them on social media. The social media, they want to trend. So I started, now Ghanaians call it ongoing. So during the event, I would actually be posting whilst we are setting up or event styling in progress. When the bride is getting ready, I'll be posting. So people were enjoying it and they couldn't wait for their turn. And I would get messages from people saying that, I'm looking forward to Saturday because I know I'm going to see somebody's wedding. I remember when I traveled to China. In China, Instagram doesn't work in China at the time. I was in China for 2 weeks. I came back to messages. What happened to you?
Where are you?
Where are you? Yeah, it's like, where are you? That's how I did that. Okay, people really live on my Instagrams and I need to capitalize on that, So social media for me, I think is one of my success stories. I saw that what it could do for me, and I capitalized on it. People lived moments on my social media page, and it was free marketing for me because the portfolio is there. So I didn't need to convince anybody. They just have to show it to whoever is paying for the wedding. Like, you see this woman and this person was there, and that person was there. So that's how I was able to grow an organic clientele.
So did you do any advertising on social media? It was just posts?
Never paid for there's a word,
influencers advertising?
No, I've never paid for an influencer. I've never paid for an
boosted posts.
Never.
Oh, interesting.
Never. But you know what, there's something, because before my Instagram, every day I would see that I'm getting 100 followers, 70 daily up to now. But my numbers are not changing. So I don't even know what
that means some algorithm issues.
Because you can't have 109,000 followers and only 10 people will like your post. And I've had people tell me that I'm not seeing
your post anymore. Yeah, the new algorithm is
So-
wonky. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so you started with decorating, then you added coordinations. What other services have you added on as the business grew?
Okay. So then when I masterminded this thing, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do decoration. And then the person who has a decorator but still wants me there, I'm going to give them coordinating. Now, there are some people who are just clueless than planning. So my coordination doesn't come automatic with planning.
With planning, okay.
So, because there are some brides who say, you know, I've planned everything, but I just need somebody to make sure everything goes well on that day. So that's a coordination service. Then I have those who need help from the beginning, then the planning, and then I have decor. So if you don't want me for something, you might want me for something. That's what made me split my services into 3. And then soon I started getting phone calls. I already have a coordinator, I have a planner, I have a decorator, but I really want you to be there because I want to be on social media.
Okay.
Influencer. So people were willing to pay for me to be at their event, to post their event. And I was like, okay, this is sensitive because another decorator would feel threatened because that's their work that I'm going to end up posting on my page. People don't read captions, so I can write in bold, decor by this, but still some people will still miss
just see it on your page and be like, oh, she did it.
Exactly. So I added another service, but after a while I said I couldn't do it anymore. You see what Bella Niger does now, weddings on points and stuff. So I would go to the event, you pay me like a coordinator just for me to post your event on my page because I had a large following and people just wanted to be on my page. And I especially did it for people within the event industry. So for instance, if you were, you did wedding gowns and you were getting married, it would make sense that you trend because when people say, oh, who is this bride? Who is this bride? Oh, she does wedding gowns. Oh, let's check out her work. So that it was getting, I was making enemies. So I thought, you know what, it's not that deep. When you call me and say, you know, I want that service, no, we don't do that anymore.
Don't do it.
Unless you're using us for a particular service, we don't do that. But that's, trust me, it paid. It's paid. That's when I knew that people could make money off social media. But because I just couldn't see myself just going to people's events and
just to capture.
And there's a market for that. So many bloggers have come
to take that market.
There's so many people making so much money for just going to events and blogging. But it's not me. It's taken away from my craft. So
which of the 3 is contributes the most to your revenue? Which is more profitable?
You make more money in decor, of course.
Okay.
Because it's a larger invoice. But it's more work. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of vendor payments. Coordination, Ghanaians don't like to pay a lot for coordination, but when they actually see the value that you're bringing, fine. Coordination, if I did more coordination frequently, honestly, at some point I would have given up on decor. It's less physical work. You know, it's less physical work. And what you find is you can tell from people's style of decor, you can tell people's characters from their style of decor. Because I'm a coordinator, my decor is very practical and clean.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking, why do I need to put a tall vase with huge flowers here when this is a table right by the aisle? So if this table is here, when the bridal party are coming in, nobody can see them. But there are some brides that they want a room full of just that type of centerpiece. But when we are coordinating, we get the heat because grandma at that table is going to come and tell you to carry that vase down. They always do that. And you can put 3 glasses, under plate, side plate. They will tell you, you know what, madam, I'm not going to drink wine. I'm not going to drink champagne. I'm just going to drink water. Can you clear these glasses so I can put my handbag or I can put... So a lot of things that go into design really is not practical. It's for the aesthetics. But as a coordinator, it's work for me when I have to now clear up. So you would see in my decor that it's very practical, very clean. It's still tastefully done, but I'm not fighting for flamboyant decor. It's not my character. So people know to come to me, they know what to come to me for. Corporate people love coming to me because obviously they don't care about all those other things. And they've realized, and I realized that the reason why I get a lot of corporate jobs is because I think they realize that I understand business acumen, I understand branding. You know, people, and what I find is because of social media, everybody think they are a decorator. They just go to Pinterest
and get something.
Get whatever and replicate it. People like that, because they don't have experience, if there were strong winds and half of those vases broke, they wouldn't even know how to improvise. And I always say this in my class, and my class is one of the additions. Also, as I was getting too many calls, do you teach? Do you teach? Do you teach? At first, I said no because I felt like I'm self-taught. So I was limiting myself to like, you know, I'm not in the capacity to teach somebody when I'm self-taught, because I'll be passing on mistakes. I'll be generating a whole generation of mistakes because I was getting a whole lot of calls. But a lot of people come to my class and leave and say, you know, I've been to other classes, but this class is different. This class is different. So I do a lot of teaching as well.
Okay, so that is decor, coordination, planning, and teaching. Fantastic. So now it's been 12 years, right? Been in this industry, you've pioneered some services. How many events have you produced so far, and how do you manage copycatism? There's a word like
Copycatism. 12 years. How do I manage copycatism?
And how many events have you produced?
And how many events have I produced? Definitely more than 1,000, for sure.
Wow.
Because I do birthdays, I do social events, birthdays, christenings, and all that. And I do the marriages, traditional weddings. I do funerals as well, corporate events, festivals. I actually have my own festival that I do called the Jollof Rave.
Okay.
And I do that every year, the Jollof Rave. And this year, the theme is World Cup. Because of the World Cup, we qualified for the World Cup. So I've done over 1,000 events.
Okay.
And I've trained over 1,000 people.
Impressive. And
copycats is human nature. In the beginning, it used to get to me like, can't you think of something else? You know, people used to copy and even copy captions under my post, word for word. I could see somebody's event and think for a minute it's my event. And I'm like, no, hold on. I didn't post this, you know. And I remember those days, I would get so annoyed that sometimes I would actually message the person that really, if the client brought my event to you as an inspiration, surely you should say to them that, you know, this is somebody's unique work. I could tweak it a bit. And what will sell for you is even tell them you would make it better. Even if you can't make it better. They want to hear that you can make it better for cheaper. That's all they want to hear. Say that and just tweak it. Maybe the color, just the vase, the napkin. But the same thing, I used to get worked up before. But now, I don't care. I don't care if you copy me, because then clearly you lack innovation, you lack creativity, and you find me worthy enough to copy me, then I'm doing something right. And you can copy and replicate, but as I mentioned earlier, without experience, you're going to spend your whole life copying and replicating. You're just bringing other people's work to life over and over and over again. You are not creating your own work. And you know, this job that we do, the beauty is in the creation. I look at work because when I'm doing an event, I even go as far as creating your monogram for your event. For instance, we are planning a 50th birthday party. I asked the lady, your monogram, what are we writing? Fabulous 50, gracious 50, grateful 50. What do you want?
Oh, that's nice.
And, you know, she spent time. And, you know, you need to evaluate why you're even having this party. What is the reason behind this party? Is it just a funky 50? Then we know we're just jamming. But go back and sit down. Why do you choose to celebrate your 50th in this way, in this manner, with these people? What is making you do this? Then they'll think about it. Okay, so now we're coming to brand your event. When we brand your event, this brand is going to be on your favors, on your invitation cards, on your table number, everything. Years to come, you will see that monogram will remind you of this day. So I'll ask you particular questions. And it all helps, it sets the mood for the event for me. So it's like I'm creating with you from the beginning. And that's the part I enjoy the most, the creation part. So I gave her a task. This woman came back with Bible verses, different objectives, told me her life experiences. I listened. I told her, please send it to me in a voice note. She sent it. I listened 3 times and it just dropped in my spirit. And I gave her a reply of a summary. And she said, I've taken the words right out of her mouth. So with that, I'm creating a monogram to depict her mood and why she's doing what she's doing. Now, once I have that, every vendor that I choose will be aligned
with that objective.
So depending on the objective of the event, then I know what kind of vendors to align for that particular mood, because really it's, and also a lot of times I like to be led by the spirit, because I've worked with a lot of vendors and every day my DM is
full with new vendors wanting to be on your list.
Yeah. And I need to feel comfortable. And you know, I have that thing. When I see somebody, if I'm going to get along with the person, I know from beginning. If I'm not, I know from the beginning.
So, 2 things. One is, how do you get inspiration for your creativity? Because I see all your events are different. And how are you able to manage these vendors and partners to align with the standard of excellence that you have put out for your brand?
You know, okay, so let me answer this question. How do I get creative? Really, I'm moved by how I vibe with the person.
Okay.
Well, excite me, and I'll be excited to deliver. Give me a hard time. When you give me a hard time, it's 2 things. I want to prove something to you. So you're challenging me to prove something to you. And I'll stay up all night coming up with things for you. Or I'm like, you know what, you don't appreciate me. It's human nature. I mean, I'm as real as you get. I'll tell you. I can walk away from a job when I feel like I'm not appreciated or what I'm bringing to the table, you feel like you could get better
elsewhere.
I'll rather let you go elsewhere and get that better. Because I would never be satisfied deep down knowing that I work for you, but I'm not really sure if you liked what I did for you. I'm not in business for that. I'm in business for excellence. I'm in business to deliver. I'm in business because I want the person to be very happy. And I feed off that energy. So if I have the energy, I want to do something new every time. I want to impress you. Now, this question, for the past month, all I've been doing is lament, questioning why vendors seem to have a challenge with diligence, honesty. They know they can't meet the deadline, but they will promise you that exact deadline. For them, it's not a big deal. For me, it's a big deal. You've not been truthful. You know, I fired one of my staff recently because he told a lie over a receipt. And I said, you know, I love you, kid, but I'm letting you go because you told a lie in such a trivial instance.
Yeah, sure.
How do I trust you with bigger
The bigger
issues?
things.
You have to, I've worked with so many people that I have learned to pick on the small things. Because the small things is the person showing you their true character. So don't
And eventually grows into the bigger things.
exactly. And I'm too tired half of the time to want to go through that roller coaster with anybody. So with the vendors, and a lot of my vendors know how I am. They know I like things done in a particular way. They know I'm big on detailing. They know I'm big on professionalism. Even to the way you even speak at an event, the way you interact with others, it's all a big deal for me. So I'll try you out, but if you're not aligned with my values, with my vision, it won't happen again. But if you can deliver, honesty for me is a big deal. Honesty. I am against marking up. Everybody knows this is $100. What business do you have marking up $300? Clients have access to all this information now so easily. They will call your vendor.
Yes.
They'll be on social media asking questions. So you're not doing yourself any favors. You might get the business now, but they're not going to call you tomorrow. And for me, I'd rather you call me tomorrow. So.
Okay. So just ensuring that they aligns with the standard, or we don't do business.
That's it.
Great. So
I know I'm interrupting your watch time, but this is so important. I wouldn't interrupt it if it wasn't important. Now, this is a message for business owners in Nigeria, courtesy our sponsors for this episode, Traction Apps. Now, they want me to let you know that you should not be POS less. If that's a thing. So if you have a business and you need POS for the business, Traction Apps is your best friend. They've got you. So they have 3 types of POSs, but in this video I'll be talking about 2, the ones that I'm holding. So we have this one. This is Traction 1, right? It basically runs like an Android phone. So when it is on, you see that the Traction app is installed on the POS. So you can basically manage your stock, your inventory on it, and still use it to receive money. Now, this POS is going for 100,000 naira, but they have a lease to own solution, which is you get to just pay 500 naira every day until you complete your payment. Okay, so this is one. It is a POS and it doubles as a phone, a device as well, an Android device where you can operate the app on it and just see everything happening on your account. Now we have the regular POS. We'll call this Traction Pro. Okay, so it's a regular POS like you know it. You slot in your card here. So I'm just going to turn it on. And you can do all the whole purchase and whatnot and issue receipts. Now, this POS is going for 50,000 naira. But again, you can lease to own, which means that you can start paying 150 naira every day until you complete your payments. So if you've been struggling to get POS for your business, just go to the link in the description and apply for one. You'll get it within 48 hours. It is that fast. Remember, I always say Traction Apps, they're every business owner's friend. They're your partner because they have so many solutions to help you win and to help you grow as a business. So let's get back to the video of today. Enjoy.
what mistakes have you made that you'd like people coming after you to avoid?
Some of the mistakes, trusting. I think I was too trusting with some of my team members, and it has pros and cons. You overtrust, and these are the same people who loyalties. I don't know.
It's a scarce commodity.
Yes. The same person that you probably trusted so much that you wanted to even groom as maybe a deputy or to even take over. Next thing, you see them running their own business. Even though you have a contract that says you can't do that, they will do it anyway. Almost daring you that if you like, take me out. And you know me, I can't be petty and decide to take you out, even if it will cost me an arm and a leg to prove a point. But I believe that you would never be Think Mahogany. And anybody who wants to use Think Mahogany will use Think Mahogany. They won't come chasing you. That is the only reason that I let it go. But if I want to be petty, I can drag it through the mud if I want to. So the mistake is sometimes we're a bit too, we lose guard. We are a bit too trusting. And I've been trying to tell you, you know what, it's a business we're running, but we are not in the culture. I've found that we are not in that culture, in that space where people don't have that mindset to help your business grow. People are using every employment opportunity as a stepping stone to the next stage in their life. Only a few people would work with you to actually help you to grow. Working in the Western world, we worked with company goals. We worked with the company's vision. We came to work every day knowing that this company has a vision, and me being here is to contribute to that vision. People don't have that mindset here. They do an event with you and they think, hey, madam, she's making so much money. And abroad, we never work with that. You got your salary, you got your benefits, you go home on Friday, you come on Monday, talk about how wonderful your weekend was. Life goes on. But that mindset, people's attitudes to work, the attitudes to work after, 12 years, I'm still struggling with it. I guess maybe that's why my staff turnaround is so quick. I'm still struggling with that.
What processes or structure do you have in place to ensure that your team are aligning to the company's vision and you're able to checkmate excesses, theft, duplication, etc.?
Okay. So before I used to think that I need to train everybody to be all round. So if it was you know how to do decor, you know how to do coordination planning, back office responsibility, you know how to do it all. I wasn't doing myself any favors doing that. So if you're doing decor,
you're doing decor.
Do decor. If you're doing, and also I don't give them a lot of room to interact. It's not even healthy for the business. Again, confidentiality. Sometimes I sit and think, what school of thoughts did these people come from? The school of thoughts. You get a good one, and then. So I've just decided I'm going to limit you to your role. Be very good at that, and just stay there. That's what's
helped you.
Yeah, that's what's helped.
Great. So, lastly, any advice for entrepreneurs out there? You've been at it for over a decade. You've gone through the high and lows. You've made a lot of money in the process. A lot of headaches as well. So, what advice do you have?
Focus on your focus. What I have learned is that we are all on an entrepreneurial journey, not for ourselves. I've come to find that a lot of entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs to answer to a calling. Without Steve Jobs, we wouldn't have our Apple phones that we're also crazy about, that people would queue up at dawn or the night before because they want to buy a phone now. It's like crazy.
The addiction.
You see, and that was his calling. God needed him to do that for that time. His time was up. He's gone. We all have a calling. And for me, I personally know that my calling is not really about creating events. My calling is about impacting people's lives through the events that I create.
Okay.
Yes, I've had staff say that, oh, madam, if it wasn't for you, I would never have even had the opportunity to come to a place such as this. And I also like the fact that I've been able to teach people skills that have now become transferable skills for them. So I'm contributing to livelihoods. I do a lot of the things I do not really for my benefit, and because I believe that God provides. COVID hit, and I'll tell you what, even though I wasn't doing any events, I enjoyed the most peace of mind during COVID. It gave me an opportunity to rebrand. I actually opened my studio. I was paying rent for years, but never opened a studio because I just didn't even have the time to go and micromanage any builder or electrician or tiler. So I was paying rent, all right, but I was working so much that I didn't go. COVID gave me time to renovate my studio, to think through processes, things that were not working then, how is it going to work now? And connections that I made through events opened a lot of great doors for me during COVID. So
everybody should focus on their focus.
Focus on focus. Be honest. You know, honesty. Honesty. You may think that you're doing yourself these favors by trying to outsmart somebody, but that's just temporary. That's just, from experience, that's temporary. People use me, go and use other people, and come back because it's different. Honesty hits differently.
Fantastic. Honesty hits differently. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been an honor talking to you. So guys, there you have it. I'll see you in the next episode of How They Did It with TriciaBiz.